Fearful engine. One afternoon on the island of Sodor, Stanley was resting at Kildane Station after a long morning of work. Just then, Henry came up beside him with some flatbeds of old rusted metal.
Hello, Henry.
Hello, Stanley. If you don't mind, could you help me sort these flatbeds in the smelter's yard? I would have Harry and Bert do it, but you know how they are.
I'll be happy to help, but I haven't been to the smelter's yard before, and I hear it's really scary.
No need to worry. I'll make sure nothing bad happens to you.
Later, when the two entered the scrapyard, Stanley was shaking from funnel to wheels. The yard was cold and dark. Old rusted remains of past steam engines and other twisted pieces of metal lied about. The sounds coming from inside were loud and spooky.
Don't be frightened. Diesel will be here soon to do the rest.
The two worked quickly and within minutes had put the flatbeds where they needed to be. As they finished, Stanley was astonished by how brave Henry was.
I must say, Henry, you haven't shown even the slightest bit of fear.
Take a look around you, Stanley. What is there really to fear? It's just old metal after all. Sure, it may look a bit spooky at first, but at the end of the day, it can't really do anything to you.
Stanley looked around. The scrap iron lay dormant in their piles and showed no sign of moving or of life. The realization hit Stanley like a brass bullet, and he smiled brightly.
Yeah, you're right. It's just some old metal, and here I was acting all afraid like a little scaredy engine.
Just then, Diesel, who was lurking in the shadows, rolled over. He had heard everything.
So, you claim that you're no longer afraid of the smelter's yard, eh, Stanley?
That's right. A scaredy engine I am no more.
Leave him alone, Diesel. Don't you have other things to be doing?
Listen, old square wheels. There's something I need to tell you guys on a more serious note. There's going to be a lot more work here this week, and the Fat Controller needs an engine to help out for the week. But since our good friend here, Stanley, claims he's no longer scared, I figured he'd be the perfect pick.
Nonsense! Stanley, don't listen to him.
Now, hold on, Henry. There's a chance he may have ulterior motives, but I do need to get familiar with the smelter's yard too. Besides, I'm too brave for him to pull any tricks on me.
Henry eyed Stanley with skepticism.
If you say so. But don't come crawling back to me crying if something bad happens.
As Henry left, Stanley looked confidently over at Diesel.
Right then, what can I help with, Diesel?
You can start by rounding up the old engines that need to be cut up. Bring them inside.
On it.
The two got to work right away. Stanley pulled and pushed scrap metal to and fro all day, while Diesel managed the work inside the facility. By night time, a thick fog had risen and covered the yard. Stanley still wasn't frightened in the slightest.
It's just fog. Simply a part of the weather.
Diesel was starting to get fed up with Stanley's overconfidence. He grew annoyed by it quickly and was losing patience.
That wretched Stanley.
Then an idea formed in his radiator. A devious idea.
I know. I'll find an old scrap engine, push it around and make it seem as if it's alive to scare Stanley. That way he'll stop being Mr. Fearless.
As Stanley shunted some flatbeds into a siding, he heard the sound of creaking metal and perked up.
Oh well, it must be one of the machines.
But his smile quickly faded as the creaking sound seemed to be getting louder and closer. Stanley began to worry and looked around frantically, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound.
Oh. Hello? Is somebody there? Who goes there?
Stanley's eyes suddenly widened in horror as an old scrap engine slowly moved through the sidings. The creaking noises grew louder as it got closer. It made ghostly noises as it groaned in pain and agony.
No, this can't be real.
Suddenly, Diesel burst forward, giving Stanley a big scare.
What? Diesel? That was you?
Indeed it was! I guess you're not so brave after all, scaredy engine!
That's not funny. And yes, I am still brave.
Early the next morning, the fog hadn't lifted. Stanley was still asleep in a siding. As Diesel rolled by, he was startled when suddenly Stanley snapped awake.
No, don't take me.
What?
Your little scare last night gave me a nightmare.
So you really aren't brave anymore.
As Diesel rolled away, Stanley wanted to say something, but he knew it would be no use at all. As the two continued to work, Stanley began to grow more and more fearful. Everything that he once found not so scary was starting to become terrifying. Old engine husks appeared spooky, and twisted metal frightened him. Each puff he took felt more uneasy than before.
Oh, I don't really like it here anymore. I wish I hadn't decided to be so brave after all.
Later, as he was taking a rest, Diesel approached him.
Oi, the yard manager says you're needed inside.
Inside? Like where that giant claw is, and where engines get cut up?
Not like you're getting cut up now. Hurry up, I don't have all day.
When Stanley entered the facility, his heart sank. It was huge and dark, the only light source being the red lights that came down from the giant windows. Sparks flew as the large claws loomed above.
The yard manager wants you to arrange the flat beds with scrap metal on them. I'll be outside, but don't bother me.
As Diesel left, the door behind Stanley closed, giving him a feeling as if he was trapped.
I'd better get to work then.
But Stanley continued to grow more scared as he worked. Every shadow and spark was terrifying, straight out of a nightmare. Soon enough, the fear was too much for him to handle.
I can't do this anymore.
He retreated quickly into a siding and began to cry. Stanley sat in the siding, fearing for his life. He didn't notice the facility doors had suddenly creaked open as Rosie puffed inside. She looked over and was shocked.
Stanley? What's wrong? Why are you crying? And what are you even doing here?
Rosie?
Stanley told Rosie everything. How he tried to be brave like Henry, how Diesel had played a trick on him, and how he wasn't really brave after all. Rosie looked at him with a sorrowful look, comforting him.
There, Stanley. Everything's going to be all right.
Thanks, Rosie.
I'll see to it they return to Vickerstown. And that troublesome Diesel gets his comeuppings.
No. Now hold on just a second. That's not how things happened.
Can it, Diesel? Look what you did to poor Stanley. He can barely move now because of you. When will you learn to stop being such a troublemaker and actually learn to be a proper and useful engine?
Diesel was lost for words and went silent. Even Stanley was left surprised.
If you're to really be an engine on Sodor, then you better change your ways and stop bringing trouble wherever you go. Someday, it'll come back to haunt you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, what?
I'm sorry that I played a trick on you, Stanley.
And
And that I'm a troublesome engine.
that's right. Now come on, Stanley. I'll bring you back.
Thanks, Rosie.
Rosie abruptly left with Stanley back to Vickerstown, leaving Diesel alone to think on her words.
Maybe she is right. Maybe I am an awful engine.
As Diesel rolled further into the facility, for the first time in a while, he questioned his ways, wondering if they were right or not.
Am I really that awful of a Diesel?
Don't make me laugh.
Came a bone-chilling voice. A large Diesel rolled out from within.
Boss!
I'm really starting to dislike you more and more, Diesel. You have become soft over the years. What's happened?
Maybe I'm the way I am now because I want to change for once. Do you have any idea how hard it is to go around the island constantly getting nasty looks for practically no reason? I just put another engine in a state of shock so bad that I can't even begin to describe it. Perhaps what you need to do is stop being such a wannabe crime boss all the time and start to view life from a different perspective. Maybe then, and only then, will you start to see things from my point of view.
Oh?
Meanwhile, at Vickerstown, Rosie shunted Stanley in his shed and comforted him.
It'll be alright, Stanley. Just get some rest for now.
God bless you, Rosie. You have no idea how thankful I am to have a friend like you. Amen to you.
Whenever Stanley goes by the smelter's yard, he is reminded of his horrifying experience with Diesel. And ever since then, Stanley has learnt a very valuable lesson, that there is in fact such a thing as being too brave. But I don't think being brave is easy. Do you?
Oi, what are you doing here?
You wouldn't understand.
They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting trucks and hauling freight, red and green and brown and blue. They're the really useful crew, all with different jobs to do. Round Timothy's sheds or far away, going down hills and rounding bends, the Sodor engines. Thomas, he's cheeky and loads of fun. James, he thinks his paint will shine. Percy is the prankster here. Gordon, he thinks he knows it all. Emily really knows her stuff. Henry just wants to come along. Edward just wants to do his work. Toby, he is wise and old.
Let's go.
They're small, they're big, they're all useful, pulling trains in rain or shine, narrow, miniature, and standard gauge. They're all really useful too, doing all their jobs all day. Round Timothy's sheds are far away, towards the station and over the bridge. The engines of Sodor, they're green, they're blue, they're red and gray, hauling goods and tourists too. Rex, Bert, Mike, Frank, and John too. They're small but strong, it's very true, running up and down the fell, round Crovan's Gate and Scarlovey Road. Scarlovey's their handle, Coldy too, the engines of Sodor.